What do straight pool players mean by low risk? I'm actually starting this rack of the week in the end pattern of the previous rack because the theme of this week is low risk, and I think this end pattern really works along that theme. Let's take a look at it real quick. The 10 ball is the break ball, obviously, and I think a lot of people are going to identify a good key ball in this 5. And if that's your key ball, you want a K2 that's real close to, that gets you real close to straight in on the 5 and the side. That's probably the 10. Could be the 7, but probably the 10. So if you eliminate these balls, you have these 4 balls to pocket, and you want to get on the 10 ball. The 7 is probably the best ball for that because it's very close to straight in on the 10 in the corner. So if you do that, now you need to eliminate these 4 balls. So I see a pattern where you could shoot the 9 and you're very close to straight into the 11 in the side. We're looking for shots that lead naturally to each other with very little cue ball movement. So if you can accomplish that, the 11 leads you right to the 6. The 6, you're right on the 3, and then all you need to do is bounce off the rail and come up here for the 7 in the side. That's where the end pattern gets risky. Now, it's not a lot of risk, and if you're comparing it to 9 ball, it's no risk at all. But in straight pool, this can go a little bit wrong. If you come too far, now you've got to cut the 7, and it's going to be hard to hold an easy shot on the 10. If you don't come far enough, now you've got to maybe draw the cue ball back here and shoot the 10 up in this other corner pocket. It's not a bad pattern at all. I'm not saying it is. What I'm saying is it's not the lowest risk pattern. I stood over here for a little while and looked at it because I saw a different idea. And that is working top down instead of bottom up. If you're going to shoot this pattern in a top down fashion, that probably makes the 3 ball your key ball for the break ball. And it might not look like a great key ball, but I like it a lot. If the 6 is your K2, then you have this angle to just bounce off the bottom rail straight up, and you're on your break shot in the corner pocket. So that's very reliable. As an alternative, you can get below the 3 and simply draw the cue ball up there. If you're somewhat straight or just a little bit above the 3, it's easy to follow 2 rails and come up here. So I've talked about this before. I don't mind this kind of break ball at all. The reason why, I mean key ball at all, the reason why I prefer it in this instance is all my balls are up here. So I can have minimal, I'm looking at a pattern that gets me minimal cue ball movement to eliminate these balls and eliminates that risk of not getting on the 7 ball correctly. Because the way I see it, I've got 3 balls here, or at least 2 balls, that are in the zone of the table that I need to get on my break shot. So it's the same as preserving the 10 to get on the 5. I have 2 balls to get on my key ball right here. Yeah. For that reason, I'm going to use the 13 to get on the 11, but instead, from that point, I'm going to get these 2 balls. So if I get straight on this 11, then I can shoot the 10 in this corner, and then I'm on the 5 to come here and shoot the 7 and the 6. As it is, I have a little angle, so I'm going to bump into the 5. So I'm not going to hit it hard enough to knock that 5 to a rail. Yeah, I barely tap it. Okay, now I landed straight in on the 5, so it's a no-brainer. I'll pause it here to shoot the 5, and then I'm on the 10. The 10 gets me directly on the 7. If I hadn't ended up straight in, if the 5 stopped over here or over here, then it's very simple to tap this 10 in the side, and then I'm on the 5 to get on the 7. So either way, I'm going to have minimal cue ball movement. But look how much my cue ball is moving on all these shots. It barely moves at all on all of those shots. I went from here over to the 11, over to here, and then there, and then here, and then there. Hardly any movement, and that's why I prefer it. That's low risk. Now on the 7, I had lots of options because if my cue ball had stopped here with a slight angle, then it's very easy to just come over here, and I'm directly on the 6 in the corner. If my cue ball had come over here for the 7, then it's easy to slide over here, and I've got the 6 in this corner. As it is, my cue ball is very straight, and so it's going to be hard to get either of those angles. But here's the shot line for the 6 in the side. So I'm just going to roll forward to here, 6 in the side, I'm on my 3. That's the reason why I chose this end pattern. It had less cue ball movement. It's like, it's a small difference, a very small percentage difference, but I think it's a significant percentage. Now, I looked at my angle on the 3. I'm going to draw back maybe an inch, so I have that angle that I talked about. Now I just slid over a little bit, but I've got that angle just to go to the bottom and rail and straight up. I think that's a lower risk pattern than the one that most people would have chosen because they really identified that 5 in the side as a good cue ball. I don't think there's anything wrong with either route. I'm just pointing out, if you want to run a lot of racks in a row, your mind is going to be kind of focused on looking for the lowest risk pattern. And so that's what that was. I thought it was important to point out. And I wanted to talk about this rack, and so that end pattern led into it. So the philosophy continues into this rack. Low risk. Now, if you've watched my channel for a long time, you know that I used to preach on this shot right here. I'm going to pause it for a second. Those of you who have been following my channel for a while know that I used to like this shot, and I'd like to really hammer the rack and pound it and use low inside, and have the cue ball go to the rail, spin to the bottom and up. And I'm actually not trying to do that here. I come around and take a look. I know that I'm going to hit this ball full, so that shot's available. But I'm going to knock this ball, often, is going to go to the rail. This corner ball is going to go to the rail and come out, so I'll have a shot in the side. And I'm going to knock balls in other directions, but I'm really looking to control the cue ball and just have it come off the rack. I don't even think I want to hit this side rail. I'm just trying to hit this ball full and come up. And I don't get that result. So you can see me shooting low, but I'm not trying to hammer this rack. This is a lower risk way to approach it. Now I hit it harder than I think I was intending to, and the cue ball did go below the rack, but that wasn't my intent. I hope you noticed, and you could replay it, that what I predicted was true. Most of the balls that came loose went this way, and other balls went to the rail and up. So if my cue ball had drawn up here, I would have shots in the side, the corner, in this side. So I just didn't quite get the cue ball where I wanted. That said, this is a great result. Even though I don't have a real easy shot to start, I do have 3 shots. 6 in the corner, 5 in the corner, 4 in the corner. So I'm not very concerned. I only have 3 balls in the rack area, 3 or 4. Got a little bit of a cluster here, but it's very easy to deal with. And what I really love is that, look at these balls. Break ball, break ball, break ball, break ball, break ball. I got like 5 break balls. And I have 4 balls that might go into the side pocket for key balls. So I'm absolutely loving this situation. In the past, I would have been looking for a way to crash into these balls. But you want to find a low-risk way to work your way through here. The first thing I want to do is get the cue ball into a good area, which means getting the cue ball to the upper part of the table so I can start working these shots. And I'm looking at what balls go into what pockets. So I'm going to be least likely to want to shoot any of these balls. So that means this is the problem area on the table. It's the only problem area there is. And I believe that this stripe ball goes this way. So if I can position the cue ball over here, I can have that shot and kind of open these up. But I'd even rather not do that. I want a lower risk way to go about it than that. And so I noticed that either a shot from center table on either the 6 or the 10, I can nudge the 5, open these up, and then I have insurance back with the 2 and the 3 back that way. So that's what I'm looking at. So what's my first shot? And I noticed that I have 3 balls that go into this side pocket. All 3 of these go into this side pocket. So getting the cue ball over here would be ideal to get my cue ball up to the top of the table. So the 4 ball is an option, and these are 5-inch pockets, so there's no reason not to shoot that. But this is a really, really easy bank shot. It's almost dead straight. and the cue ball is just going to go here and here, and I'm going to be in that zone. So that's the shot I choose first. Part of the reason I do that as well is it unblocks the pocket for the 4. But that's just, I mean, that's almost an unmissable bank shot. Okay, so now I'm looking at the top of the rack again. Somebody told me recently that don't be a statue, walk around. So that's what I'm doing, and that's part of low risk play in straight pool. Don't just, I mean, I got the position I wanted, and obviously I'm going to shoot the 3 ball on the side. But don't just bend over and shoot it. Look at what your options are. Is the plan still working? How does the table look now that that ball's gone? That's how you want to approach it. So I can see that I want to come forward, and I like the 10. I like this, I think that's the 10. This stripe ball to nudge the 5, and I think that's going to open things up a little bit. So once I've identified that, now I know what I'm going to do with the 3. So how does my angle look? Is it good? It's kind of good. I have an angle on the 10. I could bump into the 3, but it's not quite enough angle. But when the 3's gone, what's my insurance ball? It's only the 2 in the side, probably. So I want a little bit better angle on that ball. Because I'm almost dead straight on this ball in the corner, I'm going to shoot that. No cue ball movement, low risk. Now I have a bit more angle on this, and I'm going to stun the cue ball into the 5, and I just want it to come up here. I'm going to have a shot on the 2 or the 4 or one of these balls when they come loose and move in this direction. That's not a big cluster opening shot. It was a very gentle shot. No way for it to go wrong. Low risk straight pool. Now that happened, I have my insurance ball, but I also have other balls. So once again, walk around and assess the table. What is the priority? What are my options? And what I looked at is this. This is the only problem anymore, right? But the 7 ball goes here. Now, in the old days, I might want to, right now, shoot the 5, go to the rail, and come over here and bump these and knock them open. That's high risk straight pool. The 7 ball goes over here. So I need to get the cue ball in this area. So what ball gets the cue ball in that area? One option is the 9, right? The 9 ball, if the 9 ball was a cue ball, bing, you're on the 7. So one option would be to shoot this 5 ball right now, just go to the rail, come out center table or past center table, then I can go 9-7. That's an excellent option. I'm not sure why I choose that, but why I don't choose that. But what I see is just tap I'm looking at it right now. I'm going to use this stripe to get the cue ball over here. So I'm very, checking the angles. I'm just going to tap the 5 in and come over to here. So I get a sliding along the stripe, and then I can just bring the cue ball over this way. Okay? Now, it wouldn't hurt me to go over here and look at the angle again, but from experience, I know what can happen here. You think this is low risk, and it is, but what can happen is you accidentally roll the cue ball up, and it lands right on the back side of the 9. You've got no choice to shoot your 7, but you're elevated, and the cue ball's got it's a terrible result. So you want to make sure that you don't land on top of that 9. That means I'm not trying to get perfect and land the cue ball here. I'm going to put the cue ball over here. That's a super easy cut shot on the 7, and there's no chance of getting behind or on top of the 9 ball if I choose that route. Straight pool players use a lot of inside English, I think. This is kind of that pass-through drill. I've mentioned that before. There's a drill you can shoot where you line balls up, straight up here, however many you want, 5, 6, 7, 8 balls. Put the cue ball on one side and you spin the cue ball over to the other side, shoot the next ball, spin the cue ball back to this side, shoot the third ball, spin over to this side. I call it the pass-through drill. And that's really important for straight pool players because this is the kind of shot that you shoot a lot, okay? But notice, low risk. What if I didn't like my angle on the 7? There's the 8 ball right in the side pocket. Easy shot, and I can reposition the cue ball to get on the 7. As it is, I'm going to go ahead and shoot the 7, And what my thinking is, this is a perfect shot to bump the 13 over this way. I'm trying to make another break ball. And I know that the cue ball is going to hit the 13 and come up here, center table. I've got shots everywhere. Low risk once again. Another, I mean, I hit it a little bit firmly, but the 13 ball barely moved. It was a gentle shot. So from here, all the problems are solved. 7 balls left on the table. I'm in the end pattern. Really kind of a textbook rack. The way I shot it is not the only way, but I just think my reasoning, there's other low risk ways to run through that, but none of them involve crashing into those clusters. You find a low risk way to pick your way around the balls. So now there's several options here. I have 4 break balls to choose from. One option that I think would probably stick out for a lot of people is 6 ball break ball, 11 as the key ball. And that's a great idea, especially because I've got a K2 ball directly across from that 11. So I need to get on that to get on the 11 as the key ball. This is a very good pattern. If you're going to do that, you can use almost any of these balls to get on this 2 ball in the side pocket. I wouldn't want to play position up here for the 2 in the corner. You've got balls down low. I'd use one of these to play position on the 2 in the side. So there's a number of ways to do that. You could shoot the 9 now and come over for the 4-13 and then come back up center table on the 8. A number of different ways to do that. I choose not to do that. Again, I think it's more cue ball movement than is required. As it is, my pattern doesn't work out as well as I'd hoped, but I have a very, very low risk shot. So what I like is the 8 ball as my break ball. And I'm not going to use, because I'm using the 8 ball as my break ball, I am not using the 11 as a key ball because it's not in a good position. That means one of these balls is going to be my key ball, which predetermines that my route to getting on my break shot is going to be to go 2 rails around from one of these balls. Most likely. It wouldn't have to be. I could also get a shot on this 4 where I simply go to the rail and then over and off to get on that break shot. But that's a lot of cue ball movement as well. But what I saw, almost a stop shot on the 9, almost a stop shot on the 2. I'm going to come forward and have almost a stop shot on the 11. And I don't hit it very well. That was a little bit of a rushed shot. I wanted the cue ball. I wanted to just float forward and have the cue ball here. Then it's very easy to go 11, 4, 6, and then I'll have that angle on the 13 to come around the 8. I didn't get that. Obviously, I have an easy shot on the 6 or the 4 right now, so I could work some type of other pattern. But what I like is that even though this is a lot of cue ball movement, just cut the 11 in the side, go straight up and straight down. Super high, super low risk. I'm going to be on one of these 3 balls without a doubt. And that, where the cue ball stops is almost identical to what I was hoping for with a stop shot on that 11. So now I've got the correct angle to go to the rail and get on the 6. Shot line to the 6 is here. Stay on it or below it. And then I can get the angle I want on the 13. So I'm not saying this is the only pattern. It's the pattern I saw. I felt it was a very low risk pattern because there was minimal cue ball movement. I didn't have an ideal key ball. See, I was just pointing right there. Let's see how close I do. I didn't have an ideal key ball right here for the 8, so I chose this route to get there. And came a little bit past it, but I've talked about this before, but it bears mentioning. If the break ball was over here and you're going around it, you want your cue ball to come close to it because then you're very likely to preserve this angle on the break shot. As it is, my break ball is close to the rack. So if I went 2 rails close to my break ball, I'm going to end up way up table. So you want to kind of measure that. In this case, I think about halfway between the 8 ball and the pocket was the best route. So off that 13, halfway, here's the shot line to the pocket for the 8. Now when I'm coming off that second rail, I got no chance of crossing this line. I'm always going to have an angle on this break shot no matter where my cue ball stops. But obviously I'm playing speed control to try and get it close to this parallel line. And that's what I accomplished. Let's fast forward to the brake shot. So here's the brake shot. This one, kind of a similar angle to the brake shot that started this rack, only I'm farther away and it's a higher brake ball. So I don't remember what happened, but I'm going to guess, again, stun shot to here, and just try to stun the cue ball out. And don't pound this brake shot, just control the cue ball, make the object ball. Okay, not bad. I didn't draw the cue ball as much as I might have liked. I think I would have preferred the cue ball to come up a little bit. But notice, once again, ball's off the side rail out here, so I have a shot into the side pocket. Also, a ball often comes loose this direction, so I have a shot in this corner. So rather than trying to hammer that rack and just spread the balls wide, lower risk brake shot is to play it with a little bit of control. This is an ideal brake shot. Let the balls come to a stop. Yeah, ideal brake shot. I've got lots of options. I've got balls that are already in brake ball position, minimal cluster to deal with, easy combination on the bottom rail, and I'm going to get through this rack as well. So I hope that made some sense. Think about what's the lowest risk way to move your cue ball through the racks. Straight pool is about managing risk. And if you have a 95% option, you want to look for a 99% option. You want that super low risk. That's the only way that you're going to start to connect racks together with consistency. And I'm talking to myself as I'm talking as much as I'm talking to all of you. That's a lesson that's been on my mind a lot this week, and I think it's contributed to a higher level of consistency I've had this week. Had a couple sessions where I got my BPI above 25. My last session, my BPI was 30. So I'm heading in the right direction, and I think this is why. Thanks for watching. Hope that helps. See you next week.